Imagine standing at the edge of a storm, winds howling, waves crashing, and every voice around you screaming that it's impossible to move forward. Now imagine a woman, not much older than you or me, staring down that chaos with nothing but grit, determination, and a quiet fire in her eyes. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't run. She steps forward and says, "I will lead." That's the kind of courage that doesn't just change a moment, it changes history. Hello, and welcome to Legacy of Leader, where we uncover the stories of the past to light the way for your future. Today, we're stepping back to the 16th century, into the heart of a kingdom teetering on the edge of collapse. A young woman, surrounded by enemies, doubters, and danger, chose to rise. She wasn't just a ruler. She was a mother to a nation, a teacher to those who'd follow her, and a beacon for anyone who's ever faced a tough choice. If you're a parent wondering how to raise kids with backbone, or if you're someone staring down your own storms, whether it's a tough job, a big decision, or just a daily grind, this story is for you. Because courage isn't about capes or crowns. It's about what you do when the odds are stacked against you. Stick with me for the next 15 minutes, and let's discover how one woman's bold choices can inspire us all centuries later. Let's set the scene. It's 1558, and England is a mess. The country's broke, divided by religion, and surrounded by powerful neighbors itching to invade. The last few rulers? Disaster after disaster. Into this chaos steps a 25-year-old woman, red hair, sharp eyes, and a mind like a steel trap. Her name? Elizabeth. Her title? Soon to be queen. But here's the kicker. Almost no one thinks she can do it. She's young. She's a woman in a man's world, and her own family's history is a tangle of betrayal and bloodshed. Her dad chopped off her mom's head. Literally, her sister locked her in a tower. Talk about a rough start. But Elizabeth doesn't crumble. She doesn't hide. She walks into that throne room head high and decides she's going to lead, not just survive, but thrive. And here's where it gets interesting for us as parents, as leaders in our own lives. Elizabeth didn't have kids of her own, but she saw herself as a mother to her people. She called them my children, and she spent her life teaching them something powerful. Courage isn't loud. It's steady. It's choosing to stand up when everyone else sits down. Take her first big test. Spain's got this massive fleet, the Armada, ready to wipe England off the map. Her advisors are panicking, saying, "We're done for. Our ships are smaller. Our money's gone. Let's surrender." Elizabeth? She doesn't blink. She rides out to the coast, armor on, and tells her troops, "I may have the body of a weak woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king." That's not just bravado. That's a woman who knows fear, but doesn't let it rule her. And guess what? England wins. Against all odds, those little ships outsmart the Armada, and the nation cheers. Now, let's pause here. Think about your own life. Ever had a moment where you felt like the underdog? Maybe it's your teenager slamming doors, saying, "You don't get it, Mom," or your boss piling on work, thinking you'll crack. Elizabeth's story says, don't crack, lead. She didn't win by shouting or swinging a sword. She won by thinking, planning, and standing firm. That's the kind of courage we can teach our kids, and frankly, teach ourselves. Let's dig deeper. Elizabeth wasn't perfect. She had enemies at every turn. Some wanted her dead. Others wanted her married off to control her, but she refused to be a pawn. She famously said, "I will not be ruled." Instead, she ruled alone for 44 years. No husband, no kids, just her and her kingdom. That took guts. Imagine the pressure. Everyone telling her, You need a man, you need an heir. She said no. She chose her path and stuck to it. For us, that's a lesson in independence. How often do we let others, family, friends, society, tell us how to live? Elizabeth teaches us to trust our own compass. As parents, we can pass that on. Tell your kids, you don't have to follow the crowd. Be you and be brave about it. But here's where it gets real. Courage isn't always about big battles. Sometimes it's quiet. Elizabeth faced betrayal. Her cousin, Mary, Queen of Scots, plotted to kill her. Her advisors said, execute her. Elizabeth hesitated. She didn't want blood on her hands. In the end, she signed the order, but it haunted her. That's courage too, making the hard call, even when it hurts. Ever had to discipline your kid, knowing they'd hate you for it? Or fire someone at work, knowing it's right but tough? That's the Elizabeth move, doing what's needed, not what's easy. And she didn't stop there. She rebuilt England's economy, sparked a golden age of art and exploration. Shakespeare, Drake, all that jazz. How? By surrounding herself with smart people and letting them shine while she steered the ship. That's leadership, not hogging the spotlight, but lifting others up. Imagine applying that at home, letting your kids take the lead on a project, guiding from the side. Or at work, trusting your team while you set the vision. Now, let's bring this home. Elizabeth's life wasn't all glory. She got sick, she aged, she lost friends. By the end, in 1603, she was tired. But she stood before a court one last time and said, though God has raised me high, my greatest glory is to have reigned with your love. That's a leader who knew her strength came from her people, and her courage kept them together. She died at 69, leaving a legacy that still echoes today. So, what do we take from this as parents, as everyday leaders? 3 big lessons. First, courage isn't fearless, it's acting despite fear. Elizabeth faced death threats, invasions, loneliness, and still said, I'll lead. Next time your kid's scared to try out for the team, or you're nervous about that promotion, channel that. Step up. The fear doesn't go away. You just walk through it. Second, leadership is about vision, not volume. Elizabeth didn't yell her way to victory. She thought her way there. Teach your kids to pause, plan, and push forward. At home, maybe that's sitting down with them to map out a tough school project instead of just saying, get it done. At work, it's strategizing before reacting. Quiet strength wins. Third, courage builds trust. Elizabeth earned her people's love because she stood by them through war, famine, everything. Be that rock for your family. When life gets messy, sickness, job loss, whatever, show them you're steady. That's how you raise kids who don't just survive, but thrive. Try this tomorrow. Pick one moment to lead with courage. Tell your teenager, I trust you to figure this out, and I've got your back. Or take that risk you've been avoiding. Ask for the raise, start the side hustle. Elizabeth didn't wait for permission. Neither should you. Wow, what a ride, right? From a shaky throne to a golden age, one woman's courage changed everything. If this story lit a spark in you, if it made you think about how to lead your family, your life, with a little more guts, then don't let it stop here. Hit that subscribe button right now. Legacy of Leaders, all about bringing you stories like this, real, raw, and ready to inspire. Want more? Drop a comment below. Tell me, what's the toughest choice you've ever faced as a parent or leader? How did you find your courage? I read every single one, and I'd love to hear your story. And if you know someone who needs a boost, a friend, a co-worker, a parent struggling to keep it together, Share this video with them. Let's build a community of everyday leaders, one story at a time. Next week, we're diving into another legend, someone who turned failure into genius. You won't want to miss it. So subscribe, ring that bell, and let's keep this journey going. Thanks for watching, and remember, you don't need a crown to lead with courage. See you soon.